Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond and welcome to Isogo TV, where we are using Strength Finder to fuel the marriage connection that we crave, the parenting grace we need, and the work energy that flows from a happy home. Today, you are joining me for episode number 58. We are 5 episodes into our mini-series where we are exploring the ins and outs of how to really connect more deeply with your spouse by using your strengths to get there. So join us in this episode and be sure to get caught up in the past 4 episodes if you haven't already to start to feel the delight of love more often and to have something good to talk about on date night. Also, be sure to grab the 34 Ways to Connect free PDF over at isogostrong.com/34connect. This tool uses your spouse's top 5 strengths to connect at a deeper level. So I'm excited for today's content. Let's dive in. Last year, a friend of mine shared something with me that has stuck with me. She said that her dad, who is no longer married to her mom, once reflected that the beginning of the distancing between them was marked by her shirking away. When he would lean in for an embrace, she would find a way to squirm away. And he said it wasn't obvious at first. It took some processing to figure out where it all started. It was like a little sliding away here and a quick scurry on to the next task there. And my friend said that she's used this picture of her parents not connecting, of missing each other in the daily habits of their life in her own marriage as a litmus test, that even when she doesn't feel like leaning in, she does it anyway. Even when her own personality, her strong to-do list or action-oriented personality would rather move on to the next thing, when he leans into her, comes up to her in the kitchen to wrap his arms around her for an embrace, she leans back toward him instead of leaning toward the activity that she was working on. And as much as she can, she tries to melt into it, not wanting to miss those daily habits that make the deeper connection in their relationship. And I love that imagery and the intentionality in the daily moments of her marriage. Because in marriage, there are some big non-negotiable things that we all face and we set for ourselves, like fidelity and commitment. I think even public honor and respect, like we talked about in the last episode, rank up there as well. And then there are the daily habits that fall between the big commitments of marriage. And really, in the end, it's those daily habits, the things that we do every day, that make all the difference. And often they're the things that we do naturally when our love is young and is fresh, and then they fade over time. It's natural for a lot of us that it fades. So let's bring focus back to those 2 daily habits. Several months ago, I made a commitment myself in the relationship that David and I have with each other. It just seemed like there was a little something missing. And so I said, okay, what are the 2 daily habits that I can add back into our lives? What are things that I used to do that maybe I rush through or don't do anymore? And for me, that was an intentional hugs every day and looking David in the eyes. And so that's what I set out to do. I didn't do it perfectly, and I'm sure I don't do it every single day, at least looking him in the eyes thing. I think we're pretty good on the hug thing. Because while the achiever in me would sometimes rather not take the time to do it, I'm always glad that I did. I'm always glad that I took the time to melt in. And it's on the backs of those daily habits that deeper connection has been built between David and I, and that deeper connection that can be built between you and your spouse as well. And for you in your relationship, it might be something different. It might not be a hug and looking at each other in the eyes. There's a whole list of things that it might be, like a daily foot rub, or making an intentional movement to do the dishes, or take care of bath night for the kids. Maybe you need to start doing the school pickup, or maybe the two of you set time to read or to pray together, or commit to 20 minutes of conversation without your phones around every night. Maybe you're the one that should be shuttling to soccer practice, and that would be a daily habit. Maybe it's just sitting down for a glass of sparkling water or wine together. Or maybe it's setting your alarm 30 minutes earlier and getting up and working out together because you know that would be meaningful to your spouse. There's so many different ways to take it, really. And this is where your strengths come in. It's the intersection of your strengths and your spouse's strengths, where you're going to find those two daily habits that bring you together to connect you more deeply in your marriage. And the 4 domains of strength come in really handy here. So each of the 34 StrengthsFinder talent themes fall, at least loosely, statistically as well, but at least loosely experientially, into one of 4 categories: executing, influencing, relationship, and thinking. And here at Isogo, we like to think of them as different seats on a bus. There's the driver, the MC, the party coordinator, and the navigator. So in your daily habits with your spouse, depending on where your strengths lie, which one of these 4 areas, these 4 seats that you sit in, you might find that a certain daily habit is more meaningful to you. Or you may find that a certain daily habit is harder or easier for you to commit to. So for example, for my friend I mentioned a couple minutes ago at the beginning of the episode, she has high executing and influencing talent. So she's an inspirational driver of the bus and MC of the bus. And I'm always in awe of her ability to plan ahead and to get an extraordinary amount of things done in an excellent way. And I could just sit there and listen to her talk for hours. So for her to make a commitment to lean into a hug, to an embrace when her guy comes toward her, it's huge for her. When her natural inclination might be just to keep moving or talking or move away, not toward him. For someone else, though, who sits in another seat on the bus, like, let's say, the relationship-oriented party planner or the thinking-oriented navigator, your daily habit might have something to do with finding an act of service that you can work into your daily routine, or for your more to-do list-oriented spouse. Because it's in that intersection of your 2 seats on the bus that you will find the 2 daily habits that make the most difference in your marriage. So this week, that's the challenge to you, and to me too. What are the 2 daily habits that you can add into your marriage that need to be refreshed to nurture the relationship that you committed to when you started? What are those 2 daily habits? And so for help with ideas and understanding better how to see where you both might sit on the bus, you can download our very fun and educational Strengths on the Bus infographic. You can find that link in the show notes associated with this blog post, or you can head directly over to isogostrong.com/strengthsonthebus. And you may also get some great ideas and support about your spouse's top 5 strengths by downloading the free resource that we have been talking about throughout this entire Isogo TV mini-series about marriage. It's called The 34 Ways to Connect to Your Spouse, and it can be found over at isogostrong.com/34connect. So I'm excited for the daily habits that you can form that make all the difference in connecting more deeply in your marriage. And it can really start today. And then next week, we get to dive into the power of building a surprising and delighting experience for your spouse. And with their strengths, it's easier than you may think. I'm so glad that you chose to tune in here and be with me today on Isogo TV. As we wrap up, be sure that if you haven't already, that you get your free copy of the 34 Ways to Connect free PDF download over at isogostrong.com/34connect. And if you found some part of this episode useful or thought-provoking, I would love to hear about it. I know the rest of our community would as well. The easiest way to do that is by connecting with us over at our Energy Up, Frustration Down Facebook group, or over on Instagram at Isogo Strong. Also, I would love for you to help get the word out about our show on iTunes. You can do that by rating and reviewing it over on iTunes. In the meantime, I hope that this week you find one more way to connect more meaningfully with your spouse, even if it's just one small little step. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Isogo TV.